guys, Jess here from Our Yoga, and I'm super excited to share with you today my 5 favorite tips for practicing yoga while pregnant. Practicing prenatal yoga or yoga during your pregnancy has so many unparalleled mind-body benefits. It can help lower rates of depression, prepare your body for birth, and also a happier postpartum, and just overall make your pregnancy a lot more comfortable, manageable, and find some emotional mind-body release and calming. So please give it a try, and here are some tips. The first one is that we try to avoid anything that overextends your abdominal muscles. Any deep back bends. Think about your abdominal muscles. As that baby is growing, they are becoming further and further apart, and so we want to avoid doing anything that's going to stretch them even further apart. If you think like a deep camel, that's going to happen. So when we're doing those back bends, we try to think more from the ribs up and keeping this nice deep core connection so that the abdominal muscles don't separate any further than they need to make space for baby. On that same note, we tend to avoid planks and boat pose. It's putting a lot of strain on the abdominal muscles, and anytime that we're in a plank, depending on your body type, it can make that abdominal separation, diastasis recti, diastasis recti, something every pregnant woman should know, can make that a little bit worse. And so we just really want to make sure that we are engaging correctly, and one way to do that is to do all of our core work on all fours instead of in a plank. And then also the boat pose, that would be really pulling almost like a sit-up, which is why they tell you to avoid it. It would be pulling a lot of strain on those abdominal muscles as well. So being gentle on the abs, trying to do things that are going to be supportive on all fours is typically what we like to do in prenatal yoga class, and really feeling that deep core connection to help support you and bring those abdominal muscles closer together and feel more relief for the low back. The third thing that I want to mention is avoiding deep twisting. So in prenatal yoga, we really like to twist because it can have so many benefits for the hips, the low back, the spine, baby's positioning. But anytime we do, we just make sure that we can breathe deeply into the belly and have plenty of space in our hips for baby. So in our classes, our feet are usually hip width apart if we're twisting. We can breathe really deeply into the belly. In the beginning of our pregnancy, it's because we just want to make sure that everything settles well and baby's not disrupted when they're trying to really, that placenta's trying to get in place and everything. And then towards the end of pregnancy, it's more of a logistical space for baby thing. So just make sure when you're twisting, you can breathe deeply into your belly and you have plenty of space in your hips. The fourth thing that I want to share is avoiding any deep breath retentions or super fiery active breath. That could be Kapalabhati, skull shining breath, breath of fire, anything where you're really heating up the body, or any deep holds of the breath in or out. We just want to keep oxygen flowing to baby, and we want to focus more on this deep belly breathing or diaphragmatic breathing, having plenty of fluid breath and continuing to breathe in that way. And then the last one that I want to talk to you about is inversions. So there's lots of inversions that I like to do in prenatal yoga, and even something as simple as a forward fold is an inversion, or downward dog. But then you can also get into, handstands, headstands. And typically, as with most things in pregnancy, I like to say that the rule of thumb is if you didn't practice it before you were pregnant, don't start now. And if you're comfortable doing those things and they're already in your practice and you feel like you can engage your core correctly, then that's an option for something that you could do. We typically avoid them in class, any bigger, more exaggerated arm balancing inversions, obviously, but we do often do a forward fold. Anything that gets our head below our heart is going to calm the nervous system and can be really helpful for us and our bodies and everything we're going through and help us process. But we just take it really easy. If someone's having nausea or lightheadedness, maybe we don't lower that head so much. And downward dog we practice in some classes. It just depends on the person's ability to really engage their core there and feel supported, and what their practice was like maybe before they got pregnant. So I know when I was pregnant, I was doing a ton of headstand and everything beforehand, and I just really didn't feel like doing them when I was pregnant. I think there was all this downward flowing energy, and I just wanted to keep it flowing downward instead of bringing it back up. The only exception to that is if baby is breech and you're far enough along in your pregnancy to where it matters, then you might end up doing a little extra downward dog to try and bring that baby back up and rotate them and get them back down. But just as a general rule of thumb for inversions, only do what you've already known before if it's something that's really active, and otherwise listen to your body, make sure you're not getting too lightheaded or nauseous, and try to be gentle whenever you get that head below the heart. So glad you're here with us, and feel free to leave a comment below. Let us know if you have any questions or your favorite takeaway, and can't wait to practice on the mat with you soon. Namaste.